I've always been fascinated by historical counterfactuals, the what if questions that cause us to consider how our world could have been different. What if fog doesn't save the Continental Army at the Battle of Long Island? What if Napoleon wins at Waterloo? What if Hitler is killed in the First World War? What if Japan never attacked Pearl Harbor? You could spend your entire life theorizing answers to these sort of counterfactuals. Unfortunately, a new counterfactual question that will be pondered by historians of the future was born only a week ago. What if Donald Trump does not turn his head and is murdered on national television? That question was almost immediately on many people's minds shortly after the assassination attempt became apparent. A vast majority of Americans breathed a sigh of relief, myself included, and a much smaller minority seemed to think that the victim's villainy justified the attempt. Everyone is entitled to answer the counterfactual the way they see fit. I'm not going to thoroughly explain why I think our current reality is better than the one where a former president gets his brains blown out on camera, but as I considered the counterfactual, a certain movie quote came to mind. It's a short line from the Joker in one of the Dark Knight's most famous scenes. You've all seen it, probably multiple times, but the delivery is so great that you can't watch it enough.
Look what I did to this city with a few drums of gas and a couple of bullets.
This line is the beginning of the Joker's larger monologue about the nature of chaos and how it can unravel a society relatively easily. His point being, you don't really need to stage highly coordinated, large-scale acts of terror. All you need is a couple of bullets aimed at the right people and the institutions they represent. That's what it takes to disrupt the established order, as he coins it. As we've all learned by now, the murderer from Pennsylvania was a ghost. His complete irrelevance in society was certainly a part of his motive. The depressed loner who wants to go out with a bang has sadly become a familiar archetype. Yet, with a single bullet, this unknown individual nearly changed the course of the world's most powerful nation by disrupting the established order. Presidential candidates don't get gunned down on camera. That is not a part of the plan. Now, returning to The Dark Knight, the Joker's theory is dependent on a separate idea.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble.
The Joker tries to convince Bruce that society is vulnerable because human beings are only moral when it's to their benefit. If people believe they can profit from maintaining stability, they'll play along. But when chaos emerges and people are forced to choose between self-preservation and doing what's right, they will choose the former. The Joker doesn't see himself as an evil man. He just believes that he's free from the delusion that so-called moral behavior is disconnected from self-interest.
See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
So the main conflict of The Dark Knight is not a physical battle. As the Joker says towards the end of the movie, the winner will not be decided by a fistfight. It's a philosophical battle between Harvey Dent and Batman against the Joker. The Joker's strategy in this battle is to display the moral corruption of Gotham. To save a hospital, you need to murder a man in cold blood. To save your own life, you need to blow up a ship full of people. The citizens of Gotham are given a binary choice. They can be Bruce and react to chaos with selflessness, or they can be Harvey and pursue their own selfish interest. At the end of the day, it's up to the people of Gotham to maintain order. And the only way they can do that is by sacrificing their own desires for what's right, even if it's not fair. And that's the parallel we see at the end of the movie. Batman takes on the sins of Harvey Dent, and the people on the boat decide not to pull the trigger. When that man sits down, it's really the only moment in the movie when the Joker looks defeated. It's an amazing scene. The moral of the story has great relevance to where the United States is now, and where any society could end up. There is evil in the world, evil that is willing to destroy for the sake of destruction. But there's nothing we can do about its existence. Nirvana is not for this world. To resist the chaos that can be caused by evil, individuals need the moral fortitude to reject what they desire when it's at the expense of the nation, community, even down to the family. If that moral fortitude does not exist, and societies are made up of more Harvey Dents than Bruce Waynes, then the Joker's theory will come to pass. A couple of bullets will disrupt the order, and people will destroy each other using various justifications. Self-preservation, fairness, moral relativism, Any number of things. I've been watching House of the Dragon, so I'll land my plane with a Game of Thrones analogy. You can't defend yourself against evil with a brittle sword that's poorly crafted and has cracks at the hilt. You need Valyrian steel. You need something that can take a blow from any weapon. We're going to be hearing for years what could have been if the bullet found its target a week ago. Civil war, national divorce, mass riots. Only bad options. If a country like the United States could be thrown into civil war by one depressed zoomer with his dad's rifle, we might not be asking all the right questions about that day. Of course, we should discuss how something like that could be prevented from happening again, but it's also worth considering how to be a nation that throws the detonator out the window, not one that presses it in 3 seconds out of rage and a thirst to get even. This is a bipartisan problem that we've been talking about for years, yet no path to stability seems imminent. When societies reach this point, they're at the mercy of people who, out of their own self-hatred, want to use a few drums of gas and a couple of bullets. And given the state of mental health in the Western world, that is a serious roll of the dice. Call it luck or divine intervention, the US was given another chance to strengthen, and that process has to begin from the bottom up. We have more control of our leaders than we like to admit. I'm usually glad when modern events give me an excuse to talk about movies, but probably not in this case. The Dark Knight obviously has thematic depth that superhero movies don't even attempt to match nowadays, and that's why it's a GOAT and likely always will be. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, as always, make sure to like and subscribe on your way out. Have a fantastic rest of your day, guys. I will talk to you soon.